And this is Watership Down, The Raid, Part 2. Anyway, here she go. How many chins do I got? What the hell is that? 1, 2, 3, 4? Or is it just my neck? I only weigh 168 pounds, for Christ's sakes. Anyway, here we go. And this is Dandelion speaking, Part 2, Watership Down. I shall be disappointed if I don't meet a cat after all this, said Dandelion, as he waited his turn to run at the fallen breech branch from one side, claw it twice, and dash out again. I feel like a real dangerous animal. You watch him, Mr. Dando, said Kihar, who was hunting for snails in the grass nearby. Mr. Pig, if want you think be pig yoke, you make brave. Cat, no yoke. You not see him, you no ear them. Then yomp, he come. But we're not there to eat, Kihar, said Bigwig. What? That makes all the difference. We shan't stop watching for cats the whole time. Why not eat a cat? Said Bluebell. I'll bring them back in for breeding. Ought to improve the warren stock no end. Hazel and Bigwig decided that the raid should be carried out as soon after dark as the farm was quiet. This meant that they would have to cover half a mile to the outlying sheds at sunset instead of risking the confusion of a night journey over the ground that only Hazel knew. They could steal a meal amongst the Swedes, halt till darkness, and cover the short distance of the farm after a good rest. Then, provided they would cope with the cats, there'd be plenty of time to tackle the hutch. Whereas, if they were arrive at dawn, they'd be working against time before men came to the scene. Finally, the hutch rabbits would not be missed until the following morning. Okay? If it comes to the worst, said Bigwig, we can leave the hutch rabbits and bolt. They'll take the hindmost, don't they? I know it's tough, but there's real trouble if we ought to save our own rabbits first. Let's hope that doesn't happen, though. When it came to set out, Fiber was nowhere to be seen. Hazel felt relieved that he'd been afraid that Fiber might say something that would lower their spirits. But there was nothing worse to contend with than Pipkin's disappointed at being left behind. This was dispelled when Hazel assured him the only reason that he had already done his part. Bluebell, Acorn, and Pipkin came with them to the foot of the hill and watched them down the hedgerow. They reached the sheds in twilight after sunset. The summer nightfall was unbroken by owls and so quiet they could hear an intermittent or monotonous chug, chug, chug of a nightingale in the distant woods. 2 rats amongst the Swedes showed their teeth and thought better of it and leave them alone. When they have foraged, they rested comfortably in the straw until the western light has quite gone. Rabbits do not name the stars, but nevertheless Hazel was familiar with the side of the Capella rising. As he watched it now until it stood gold and bright in the dark northeastern horizon to the right of the farm. I think this guy should have described it what a rabbit sees. They can't see color. They should describe it on how rabbits see it. That's what should have been different about this book. But I guess goddamn kids, I want to hear about color, Dad. Hey, Mom, I guess it's color. Put fucking glasses on. He's already told Bigwig of his promise to Fiber to keep out of danger, and Bigwig, who have changed much since his early days, had no fault to find. If that's what Fiber says, then you better do it, Hazel, he said. Anyhow, it'll suit us. You stay outside the farm in a safe place and we've been to bring the rabbits out to you, and then you can take over and lead us all away. What Hazel not has said, the idea that he should remain in the lane, was his own suggestion, and Fiber acquiesced only because he could not persuade him to give up the idea of the raid altogether. Don't go on the raid, bro, because you'd be stupid to do so, or you're going to get your ass kicked, bro. Or maybe get snatched up by a man and thrown inside the hutch to cook your ass later on. Well, okay. Okay. Crouching under the fallen branch on the verge of the lane, Hazel watched the others as they followed Bigwig down the farmyard. They went slowly, the rabbits' fashion, hop, step, pause. And the night was dark, and they were soon out of sight. Even though he could hear movement down on one side of the long barn, he settled down to wait. Bigwig's hope of action was fulfilled almost at once. The cat that he met reached at the far end of the barn was not Hazel's tabby, but another, a ginger, a black and white, therefore a female. One of those slim, trotting, quick-moving, tail-twitching cats that sit on a farm windowsill in the rain or keep watch from the tops of sacks on a sunny afternoon. It came briskly around the corner of the barn, saw the rabbits, and stopped dead. Shit, what the hell is that, bro? I think I see rabbits. Exactly. Without an instant hesitation, Bigwig was straight after it. Even though that was been breech branch on the down, but quicker even than he, Dandelion ran forward, scratched it, and leaped clear. Hee hee hee. Hee. And as it turned, Bigwig threw his full weight down on it from the other side. Pah! Death from above, bro. The cat closed with him, biting and scratching, and Bigwig rolled over on the ground. The others can hear him swearing like a cat himself and struggling for a hold. Then he sank one of his back legs into the cat's side and scratched it backward rapidly several times. Anyone who is familiar with cats knows that they do not care for a determined assailant. A dog that tries to make itself pleasant to a cat may very well get scratched for its pains. But let that same dog rush in to attack, and many a cat will not wait to meet it. The farm cat was bewildered by the speed and fury of Bigwig's charge. It was no weakling. God damn. It was no weakling and was a good ratter. But it had bad luck to be up against a dedicated fighter who was spoiling for action. As it scrambled out of Bigwig's reach, Speedwell cuffed it across the face. Good job, Speedwell, who hardly gets any stage time. Cuffed it across the face, and at last, blow struck. The wounded cat made off across the yard and disappeared under the fence of the cow brye. Bam. Just Bigwig was bleeding from 3 deep parallel scratches on the inside of one hind leg. The others gathered around, praising him, but he cut them short, looking around the dark yard as he tried to get his bearings. Come on, he said. Quickly, too, while the dog's still quiet. The shed. The hutch. Where do we go? It was Hawkbit who found the little yard, and Hazel had been anxious in case the shed door might be shut, but it stood just ajar as five of them slipped in one after another. In the thick gloom, they could not make out the hutch. But they both smell and hear the rabbits. Probably doing it. Blackberry, said Bigwig quickly. You come with me and get the hutch open. You other three keep watching. If another cat comes, you'll just have to take it on yourselves. Fine, says Dandelion. Just leave it to us. Bigwig and Blackberry found the straw bale and climbed onto the planks. As they do, Boxwig spoke from the hatch. Who is that? Hee-do-Rah? Have you come back? Hee-do-Rah sent us, answered Blackberry. We're come to let you out. Will you come with us? And there was a pause and some movement in the hay, and then Clover replied, Yes, let us out. Blackberry snipped his way around to the wired door and sat up, nosing over the frame, the hasp of the staple. It took him some time to realize that the leather hinges were soft enough to bite, but not with my teeth, of course. They found it to be laid so smooth and flush with the frame, but he could not get his teeth into it. Several times he tried to grip and at last sat back on his haunches at a loss. I don't think the store's going to be any good, he said. I wonder where the others. Where's some other way? At that moment, that Boxwood stood on his hind legs and put his front paws on the wire. Beneath his weight, the door spread slightly outward, and the upper leather hinges gave slightly where there's another nail holding onto the body of the hutch itself. Boxwood dropped back on all fours. Blackberry saw that the hinge had buckled, risen just clear of the wood. Try it now, he said. No, excuse me. Try it now, he said to Bigwig. Bigwig got his teeth on the hinge and pulled, and it tore a little. By frick, that'll do, said Blackberry, for all the world like Duke of Wellington at Samarcarana. We just need time, that's all. The Duke of Wellington during the Napoleonic Wars. This is a goddamn kid's book, guys. Kid's book. 10-year-olds and 12-year-olds don't know what the hell the Napoleonic Wars was. Jesus Christ. He's the only guy in history to have an entire era named after, and he puts it in this book. Okay, glory to Napoleon, hua, and to Duke of Wellington as well. Maybe. The hinges all had been well made and did not give way until they put a great deal more of tugging and biting. Dandelion grew nervous and twice gave false alarm. Bigwig, realizing his sentries were on the jump from watching, waited with nothing to do. He changed places with them and sent Speedwell up to take over from Blackberry. When at last Dandelion and Speedwell had pulled the leather strap off the nail, Bigwig came back to the hutch himself, but they don't seem to be much nearer to success. However, one of the rabbits inside stood up and pressed his forepaws on the upper part of the wire, and the door pivoted slightly on axis of the staple in the lower hinge. By the lower hinge did not tear. Blowing through his whiskers with an impatient, Bigwig told Blackberry back from the threshold. See, the damn thing is doing this, and they're chewing on it, going, no, it's not. But when the other rabbit puts his weight against it, jumps up, and it does this, you got that little piece right there where they can gnaw on. Because it'll be extended, you can grab onto it. What is to be done? He said. We need some magic, like that lump of wood you shoved in the river. Blackberry looked at the door as Boxwood inside pushed in it again. The upright of the frame pressed lightly against the lower lip of the leather, but held smooth and firm, offering no purchase for teeth. Push it the other way. Push from this side, he said. You push, Bigwig, and tell the rabbits inside to get down. Bigwig stood up, pushed the top of the door inward, and the frame immediately pivoted much further than before. And there was no sill among the bottom of the lower side to stop it. The leather hinge twisted. Bigwig nearly lost his balance. But then, had it not been for a metal staple arresting and pivoting, he might have actually fallen inside the hutch. Startled, he jumped back, growling. Well, you said magic, didn't you? Said Blackberry with satisfaction. Do it again. No leather strip can be held by one broad nail at each end for long with repeated twisting. Soon one of the nail heads came almost out of sight under the frayed edges. Careful now, said Blackberry. It gives away suddenly and you'll go flying. Just pull it off with your teeth. 2 minutes later, the door hung sagging on the staple alone. Clover pushed the hinge side open and came out, followed by Boxwood. When several creatures, men or animals, have worked together to overcome something offering resistance and have at last succeeded, which follows is often pause, as the adversary put up a good fight. The great tree falls, splitting and cracking, running down the leaves to the final shedding blow among the ground. Then the foresters were silent, and they do not sit down. After hours, the sudden snowdrift can be cleared. The lorry is to take the men home out of the cold. Lorry is friggin' vehicles, guys. They counted the lorry in this goddamn book. Or a hoodoo. Where they stand while leaning on their spades, only nodding unsmilingly as the car drivers go through, waving their thanks. The cunning hutch door became nothing but a piece of wire netting, tackled onto a frame from 4 strips, half by half. The rabbits sat on the blanking, sniffing and nosing it without talking. After a little while, the other two occupants of the hutch, Laurel and Haystack, came out hastily and looked around them. Where's his raw? Said Laurel. Not far away, said Blackberry. He's waiting in the lane. What's lane? The lane, said Blackberry despite. Surely. He stopped as it came over to him that these rabbits knew neither of the lane nor farmyard. They had not the idea of their most intermediate surroundings. He reflected on this when Bigwig spoke. We mustn't wait about now, he said. Follow me, all of you. But where? Said Boxwood. Well, out of here, of course, said Bigwig impatiently. Boxwood looked about him. I don't know, he began. Neither I do. Well, I do, said Bigwig. Just come with us. Never mind anything else. That's going to be the end of part 2 because I'm running out 20 minutes and this thing's running out of juice. Damn, already. Geez, so I'm going to mark it. Okay, and then we'll pick up where we left off with the hutch rabbits. This is Jeff signing off on part 2 of the raid. Watership Down. Commentary by me and by Yahoo.